Look what I did. Find me a quote where St. Gregory of Nyssa says the filioque is true.
Oh, man.
Look down here. In On Not Three Gods, St. Gregory says, the Spirit is said to proceed from the Father because it is from him and not from the Son. He does not say that shit! He doesn't reject the Son there. Otherwise, this work would be GG's.
Wait, ask it for a source to like link the quote.
Give me the source of that quote. See what happens.
The source is just tie shit.
Oh, look. The appeared quote that you asked about attributed to St. Gregory that suggests the Spirit proceeds, in addition to the Father is not found. No, hold on. I gotta copy it. I gotta copy it. This one. Where is this at in the work? There we go. The specific wording that you quoted, the Spirit is said to proceed from the Father because it is from him and not from the Son, does not appear verbatim in St. Gregory of Nyssa's surviving Cordovas. I got it to lie to me after 5 seconds. Did you see that? One quote. What's up, John Steele? I see you in here, man. God bless. You literally look right here. I said, show me where St. Gregory of Nyssa says the filioque is true. It then gives me an opposite quote saying that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father because it is from him, but not from the Son. He doesn't say that. And then you say, give me the source of that. And it's like, well, he doesn't actually say that. That's just that. But dude, that's crazy. Don't use ChatGPT for quotes. Don't ever do that. Unless you tell it to specifically cite the website that it gets that quote from, don't ever use ChatGPT for quotes. It is the worst thing. It literally lies. Look at this. The closest comes in as On Not Three Gods. Contra Eunomium? Bro, On Not Three Gods has nothing to do with Eunomius. It has nothing to do with it. That's how quick that this app will fuck you. It's a liar. Yeah, it paraphrases like 99% of the quotes, Anthony. Exactly. It paraphrases pretty much every quote. And then it just starts making random shit up. Look, like, bro. Yeah, On Not Three Gods apparently is against Eunomius. Apparently it's the same work. So, W, I guess. It's not the same work. Ablabius was like a Unitarian, bro. I think he was a modalist. And St. Gregory was trying to prove that the Trinity is not three gods to a modalist. Bro. It had nothing to do with Eunomius. Eunomius was like a polytheist on top of an Arian at the same time. Like, he was bad, bro. Eunomius also had one of the most complicated beliefs of God ever. Eunomius's belief was so complicated, bro.
Just to be clear, this machine is ungoated.
So this is... Let me put this in here real quick before I draw this so that I don't get screenshotted. All right, I'm going to draw Eunomius's model of God. Okay? You're going to see how Eunomius thought God worked. Don't screenshot this like I'm drawing God, okay? I'm not kidding. I'll get ripped a new one. Especially by my priest.
Heretic confirmed. I'll post it on your Discord, bro, on the meme section.
Yeah. All right. So there's... Right. There was no father in his view.
What?
There is no father. What there is the unbegotten. And the unbegotten is identical to the essence, right? So this is literally the exact same as the essence in his view, right? So to be the essence is to be unbegotten. That was his argument. This is why he has an argument called the Eunomian premise. Because the Eunomian premise attacks hypostatic properties. stating, can you be God without possessing certain hypostatic properties? That was one of his problems. To be God is to be unbegotten. That was literally his argument. So if you're not unbegotten, you're not God. So then, the unbegotten with energy, not as some form of ad intra natural begetting, but as energy, causes the Son, who in turn possesses the Son nature. Because it's from energy, not from essence. So now there's a Son nature. So the Son is not God, but he is divine. Because this is divine. You know, everything that's in here is divine in this square.
What the fuck?
Let me move this because it's going to get better. When we get to the Holy Spirit, it's going to get crazy. So this is the divine. This is the... I heard that, bro. I literally freaking heard that shit.
Fuck.
I heard them. I heard the...
Fuck, bro. That's gonna be in the YouTube video for sure.
Fecund intellection is would be considered an energy in Eunomius' view. So yeah, the Son is divine. So technically speaking, energy is eternal. So technically the Son is eternal. In a sense. But he's not. He's eternal because he comes from the eternal energy. Right, this is Eunomius' view. He comes from eternal energy, right? And then, so then therefore the Son himself would be considered eternal. But he still does not possess the same nature as the unbegotten. You can't call him the Father, in his view. You can't call him the Father. He's only the unbegotten. Because he's so uncircumscribable that his property is the only thing we know him by. You can't call him a father. He's unknowable. That was the argument. Which is idiotic, of course. Because he collapsed person in nature. To be God is to be unbegotten. To be the Father is to be the essence. And because the Father is the essence, well, the essence is unknowable, as Dionysius said. So then, therefore, how do we know God's a Father? Like that's the collapse that he made. So then he reduced him down to the word unbegotten. That was God to him, the unbegotten. Because that was the only property that you can actually logically derive. Because unbegotten, technically speaking, is an apophatic term. It's technically saying that he's not begotten. So then you can call him that. So then anything that is circumscribable, like begotten or spirated, can't be God. Can't have the essence. It can't be the essence. Because the essence is uncircumscribable. So I'll put this here. God's essence. And the Son nature is... The Son nature is identical to the Son's hypostasis. In this sense. Now, the Son, via the will of the Father, because he possesses the will of the Father, because will is energy, so he's able to utilize all of the Father's energies. So technically speaking, he's in a type of perichoresis, dare I say, but it's a one-way perichoresis. The Father is always indwelling the Son. The Son doesn't indwell the Father. That's ridiculous. That was his view. The Son can't indwell the uncircumscribable. This is a heretic's view, Johnny. I promise. This is not our view. That's why I said Eunomius' view.
I'm gonna delete that later.
This is actually a heretic that existed in the 4th century named Eunomius. I'm explaining his dumbass argument that he tried to make to refute the Trinity. And so because of the fact that the Son, through the Father's will, he creates the Holy Spirit.
Proto-filioque, bro.
So the Son creates the Spirit. No, I'm not trying to refute Moses. This is Eunomius' view. I'm explaining Eunomius' view because it's pretty complicated. So the Son creates through the Father's will. So technically speaking, right, that's his argument for how the Son can create. Well, the Son can create because he was caused by the eternal energy of the unbegotten, and he's given all of the energy of the unbegotten, so he can create as well. So anything that the Father decides to create is through the Son. That's actually the reason why we make arguments against the Filioque by using against Eunomius. St. Gregory of Nyssa is against Eunomius.
Bryce, was Eunomius an Amazonian?
I have no idea.
You know what they believed, right? The Amazonians?
Amazonians?
The Holy Spirit. Yeah, the Holy Spirit's kind of like the grandson of the Father.
That's the Macedonians, bro.
I'm fucking stupid. Why did I confuse them?
They're also called the Eunomians or something like that, also known as the Spirit Fighters. Right, so then this one would be considered the Holy Spirit's nature, right? Which allows us to contemplate everything in the divine circle. And so the Holy Spirit's nature would then allow us to basically, because the Holy Spirit, comes to us, right? To a human. And the Holy Spirit indwells us. Because of the fact that the Holy Spirit indwells us, that allows us to contemplate intellectually everything that's in there. And allows us to participate everything that's in there. And so the Holy Spirit, it wasn't divine, really, to Eunomius. Rather, it was a manifestation of the divine, but it's not equal to the divine. How would you debunk How would you debunk Itea meaning primordial cause? I mean, I would honestly just make the argument that that would be something that they're reading into with their own metaphysics. If you look at Itea, for example, in the letter to Marinus, he makes it very clear that the Son is not a participant in the cause at all of the Holy Spirit. Yes, somebody did actually believe this. This is Eunomius' view. Intellectual ascension and a contemplation of a divine person is absolute madness. Well, so technically speaking, Zay, if you want to get really into it, technically speaking, it allows us to contemplate the Son. But then the only thing that we can know about the unbegotten is the fact that he's unbegotten, because it allows us to contemplate a cataphatic term of the begotten Son. So then we can basically ascend to knowing of an unbegotten, because that there's a begotten. That was a logical conclusion that he made. And so the Holy Spirit would be part of creation. That was one of St. Gregory of Nyssa and St. Basil's main argument against Eunomius, was proving that he's actually God himself, that he is divine. He can't be. That basically his argument was that, well, the Holy Spirit has to be God, because of all of these verses and because of the fact that the Holy Spirit indwells us. I have a guest. I do have a guest. What's up, John?
What's up, man?
Not that much. I'm explaining a heretic's view of I'm explaining a heretic's view of God in the 4th century.